Hello, friends, executives, business owners, leaders. Welcome back to the channel. If you've ever felt like you are checking all the boxes, but not actually moving your life or your business forward in a meaningful way, then this video is for you. We're talking about something deep that I'm deeply passionate about, which is how to think strategically, not just in business, which we talk about here, but also in life. And the beautiful part about that is you don't have to necessarily own a business to be able to apply strategy in your life, nor do you have to necessarily be able to want to incorporate these principles in your life in order to be able to apply them to business. But first, let's start with the difference between tactics, operations, strategy, and how they're all connected together. You probably heard these words before, so let's get to some basic definitions. First are tactics. These are the daily actions that we take. The emails, the tasks, the meetings, the habits, the things that we do on an everyday basis. And in a business, it's the things that cumulatively all the employees do on a daily basis. Operations are the coordination of these tasks into the bigger goal, whether that's a product, a program, a campaign, some type of project delivery. That's your operations. Strategy is the big picture. If you are on a ship and sailing on the sea, your strategy is the destination of where you want to land whenever you get to where you're going. For a lot of people, this is their vision statement in a business. It's the why behind the work. It's about setting your direction and aligning everything else that we're doing around it. So whether it's in business or whether it's your personal life, you could be having a similar life as somebody else. Maybe you're a mother of 3 kids and you have baseball practice and you have some church responsibilities. Or maybe you're a business owner and you're in a similar market as other competitors who are trying to deliver a product or service to your customers. What makes you unique and different is how your vision is unique to you, because that will determine all of the actions that you make and how you adjust based on the external factors or the issues of life as they arise to get to where you want to go, your definition of success. So in corporate life, a lot of executives do strategy, but I advocate that whether it's in a business or in life, we all need the competency to be more strategic, the ability to decide where we're going next and know how to get there. So you don't need to be a CEO to be able to lead with strategy. You just need to be willing to stop living on autopilot in the tactics and the operations of daily life. It doesn't mean that operations and tactics aren't important, but what it does refer to is alignment of your tactics and your operations to your overall vision, your strategy. So let's talk about strategic living. The same principles that move a business forward can move your life forward. We all reach a point where we're not just executing somebody else's plans, we feel this pull or this invitation to design our own. Whether that's a certain career milestone or a certain age, the time inevitably comes when we want to be able to have more autonomy and more decisiveness over our life. So if you're a believer, that invitation is sacred because God doesn't want you just busy. He doesn't want you buried in the to-dos of what everybody else needs, everybody else's vision. He wants you to be fruitful. Just as in the Bible, God didn't call David to be Moses. He didn't call Moses to be Joseph. He didn't call, Mary to be Martha. He didn't call, he called each person unique based on what their gifts were, what their purpose was, and what their kind of life was designed around. In John 10:10, Jesus said, I came, he's talking about his purpose now, that they might have life, to give us life, eternal life, and they might have it more abundantly. So one of Jesus's purposes was to enable us to be able to live an abundant and fruitful life. So that doesn't mean that we're just grinding it through the day-to-day, through the tactics of life, and just kind of going through mindlessly to try to get to the end of the day. God doesn't want you busy. He wants you fruitful. And abundance does definitely not mean burnout. It means living with vision, with clarity, with peace, with rest, and with purpose. So that starts when you can step out of survival mode and into how you are strategically a steward over your life. It can be a health issue or a job issue or a layoff or some type of situation that can often inspire that reflectiveness. But ultimately, being able to step back and think about the bigger picture is a good thing. There are two kinds of strategy, of business strategy or life strategy. There's a planned strategy, one that you move toward when you set a vision for something new. That's kind of the proverbial lighthouse option, where you build the lighthouse towards where you're going. Whether that's starting a business or writing a book or changing careers, you start with your goal and then you move backward. And then a second kind of strategy is emergent strategy. That's when you notice what's already working, a bloom where you're planted type of approach, and you do more of it. For many professionals very early in their career or early in motherhood or fatherhood, for example, it's an emergent strategy. You're learning as you go. You try to do less of what's not working, a little bit more of what is working, and allowing the analysis of your environment and your skills and your situation to guide you in terms of your next step. This could mean asking for advice, that type of thing. So there's two different types of strategy, and God can speak to you in both kinds of ways. Sometimes it is a whisper, sometimes it is fruit, sometimes it is something on your heart, sometimes it's just being willing to try something new. So here's a habit that can change, everything, right? So we could go down this path of creating a strategy and a strategic plan for a business or for an individual, but a lot of it is about alignment and ensuring that your day-to-day is aligned with where you ultimately want to be. So each morning you can think about a vision that you're building toward at the individual level, at the business level. That could mean maybe you want to shore up some analytics capabilities on your organization, for example, at the business level. At the individual level, it could mean building towards a more peaceful home or a life that you feel is in alignment with what's important to you, how you're defining success. And choose one meaningful action that day that helps to move the organization forward towards that vision. Jeff Bezos, the former CEO of Amazon, once said that you have to be strategically very patient in the long term, and tactically focused, impatient in the short term. That's a business example. So what I want you to remember today is that you are not just here to do, to perform, to work. You were created to have dominion and to be able to bear fruit and to be able to design the life that God has given you, to create, to live intentionally. Whether you are leading a company or you're learning how to lead your life in a new season, God has equipped you for vision, to be able to want something more. And when you commit your plans to the Lord, He promises to establish them. That's Proverbs 16:3. So don't just live by a checklist or somebody else's checklist. Live by conviction, by calling. That is strategy, and it starts with the decision to live on purpose. If you'd like to go deeper into designing your life with intention, check out the resources that I've linked below, or subscribe for more content like this. I love to work right alongside you on this journey.